The Polarstern is a huge German research icebreaker that came to visit the Falklands on its return journey from the South Sandwich Islands. The ship itself is 118 metres long and can break through 1.5 metre thick ice. It features a bevy of compartments that house a wide array of research stations, as well as some home comforts like a pool and a fully stocked bar with German beer on tap. The crew of the Polarstern have been out studying hydrothermal vents around South Sandwich Islands, documenting the geology and wildlife of the area.
Yeah, we are just coming from an expedition from the South Sandwich area, because this is a very interesting area. It's a microplate that is colliding with the South American plate and Antarctic plate, and these plates, these plate boundaries are areas where fluids are coming out of the seafloor, and this is really not very well known. Fluids are emissions that go into the water column and influence our water of the ocean, and the seafloor, which is 70% of our Earth, is a large area which is unknown, and specifically in those areas which are far away from land.
So the animals here on these hydrothermal vents are specialized, like all animals on the Earth that work and live around hydrothermal vent systems, because it's a unique habitat that does not rely on sunlight. Because on Earth, everything else starts with sunlight, with plants and photosynthesis. In the deep sea around those hydrothermal vents, we have a special system that produces the energy, the chemosynthesis. So we have bacteria that are able to use the hydrofluids and the hydrocarbons, the sulfides, the methanes that are coming out, and take those and turn them into sugars. And then those sugars start the food chain for everything else.
Hydrothermal vents form along fault lines in the ocean where two plates come together. This process causes water to be channeled deep underneath the rock, where it heats up and picks up sediments and chemicals lying within the sea floor. The heat and pressure then cause the fluids to rise up through the rock shelf, creating undersea chimneys that release hot chemical-rich water up into the surrounding ocean. This creates a unique habitat that allows an ecosystem of bacteria, crabs and more to survive in otherwise uninhabitable water.
The South Sandwich area is a special area because part of the fluids that are coming out is related to the subduction zone on the east side of the South Sandwich plate, where biogenic sediments from Antarctica are going down the plate, and these fluids are also coming out again. So that's a special chemical environment, because we have siliceous sediments, biogenic opal sediments, which is an end member in the ocean. In the Pacific we have normally carbonate sediments or terrigenous sediments like clay, but here we have diatom ooze sediments, and these are a specific environment we only have in Antarctica.
Yes, it is very different to what we know, and that's what makes it so interesting. I'm a macrobiologist. I'm looking at the animals you can see with your bare eyes. But for the microbiologists, the ones that work on bacteria, the bacterial cycles, it's extremely interesting, because we have no idea how this cycling works yet. And potentially this could be a cycle, the use of bacteria and the use of hydrocarbons in the way, how life in outer space is working. We don't know. Can we use the hydrothermal vents and their ecosystem as a comparison to how life on Mars or Europa or other planets is? We don't know.
This isn't the first exploration of these vents, as previous research vessels have attended the area in 2010 and 2012, where they documented the wildlife in the area. In these visits, the underwater systems had seemed largely unchanged. However, this trip was an opportunity to discover new vents and to document how the aquatic life has adapted to vents that have since gone extinct.
I cannot tell you in detail, but we have found new hydrothermal systems that are hot fluids that are coming out of the seafloor, and we found systems which we have never seen before. We took samples, and back in the laboratories we have to do the chemistry of that samples, which we haven't done this now. But of course we found new systems, and this is something which is new for us.
It was an opportunity to go back down and look at the changes that we had in the system. Was it still the same as 10 years ago? Has it changed? Because we do know that those hydrothermal black smoking systems are not persisting forever. They can change, they can switch on and off, they can move away, and then the animals have to move away because their livelihood goes extinct. And this was for us going down on the first dive, seeing the black smokers were still there, our Yeti crabs, the specialized crabs that feed on bacteria and are nicknamed Hoff crabs, are still on the smokers. But we also saw structures that were now extinct, and the animal assemblages that I dream of for 9 years were completely gone, and others came in. So that was very interesting.
The crew of scientists that we met have now left the Polarstern and have returned home to further study the data and research that they have gathered. During its stop in Stanley, the Polarstern picked up a new batch of scientists and is now underway, taking them out to continue the pursuit of science.